Hello, in this video we show you how to set up your Samsung Galaxy Ace 3 for the first time. Now we're assuming you've inserted a battery and a micro SIM card under the battery cover on the Ace 3. Now the first setup does take the longest, so you need to take your device and on the right hand side press and hold the power button for a couple of seconds. After a few seconds the screen will power on. It's then you can release the press on the power button and the device will now boot up. The initial boot and configuration on the Galaxy Ace 3 will take longer on the first go. If you're setting it up correctly, you can skip through it to make it quicker, but it's advisable to set it up correctly the first time to ensure you get the optimum use. You can make and edit a lot of the settings at a later date. So the first thing it's done is it's picked up the SIM card that we have in the device and it's automatically trying to configure the services for that SIM card. So it's correct in selecting Orange UK. It may pick up other networks and you select the appropriate one, or if there's not an appropriate one listed, just click cancel and it's likely that your network provider will send through the settings in a configuration message once the phone is switched on. So we're going to click OK here on Orange Mobile and the device will now automatically set itself up based on those settings. It's here we can then select the language from the list, so we click on this and we can scroll through the list of the languages that we would want for the setup procedure and for then the phone menu system. So we're going to stick with English United Kingdom. We can then control some of the accessibility options, and this is if you've got issues with the initial setup, so talkback, font size, magnification. Not going to go through all of that because there's quite a lot there, but those may apply to certain individuals and a lot of them are explained on screen for you. So I'm going to press the little back button to come out of it here, and you can see we've got two illuminated buttons, the menu and back key. So I've selected the language, I click next. And it's here going to try and scan for a wireless network. So if you've got one in range, then you can connect to it if you prefer. You'll also see that this has picked up the internet connection through the mobile provider based on the settings that it automatically configured. So if you didn't have wireless, you could go through your phone network provider and use its data connection if you wanted. So I'm going to scroll through the list to find the wireless connection I want to connect to. I want to connect to this TP-Link one here. So I have some with little padlocks, some without. The ones with padlocks require a password. If the network that I wanted to connect to wasn't here, I can click at the bottom of the list the Add Wi-Fi Network and I enter the details manually. This is for a more advanced setup and you may need to contact your system administrator if you have one. Now you can skip the connection to the wireless if you like by clicking next, but I'm going to connect to my connection here, and because it's secured it's asking for a password, which I'm going to do out of shot. Now because I've entered the correct password, it's given me the ability to actually connect, so I click connect and it's going to go off and connect to that network, and you can see it's now connected. Now connecting to a wireless network will enhance your setup procedure on the Samsung Galaxy Ace 3. So we're now connected, we click next and it's here we can set the date and time. We have a couple of options here regarding the date and time. We can take the automatic one based on our network configuration, or we can set it manually, and to set it manually we untick the box, or if we want it automatically we tick the box. You can then go through the different options to select your time. So if we went into set date, we now have the option to scroll through to set the appropriate date, month and year. I can even tap on the number, month or year to set it manually rather than scrolling through. When I'm happy I click set, or I can cancel it by clicking cancel. And the same principle goes for the time. And then in the time zone, we've actually got a list of time zones for around the world that you can select by scrolling through and selecting your appropriate one. It was automatically configured to the one we wanted, so I'm just going to click the back button. I then click next, and I have to agree to the licensing conditions, so you can read through these, they're all on screen for you there. Tick the box, click yes or no, and click next. Now, because this is a Samsung device, you have the facility to connect a Samsung account if you already have one. So if you do have one, you click sign in. If you don't, you can create a new account, and it can all be explained on screen to you. It only allows you to do this if you have an active internet connection. Now, we're not going to set this up at this time, but the whole procedure is actually shown on screen and explained for you, and it's fairly self-explanatory if you follow the instructions carefully. So I'm going to skip this step at this stage, and you could do that too. What we are going to do is enter our Google account details, and much like the Samsung account, we have the option to add our account if we have one by clicking yes. If we click no, we're given the option to go and create an account, and again, this is explained on screen for us, but we could also select not now, and then this would take us out of that and on to the next step. But I'm going to click back, or press the arrow key to go back and enter my account details. I'm going to click yes. And if you've got a Google account, definitely advisable to enter the information now, although it can be done at a later date. So I'm going to enter my email address here using the on-screen keyboard. And out of shot, I'm just going to enter my password. And once I've entered the appropriate information, I click the arrow key to go forward. You have to agree to conditions of the Google license, click OK, and it will try to connect and configure my account. And this is where it pulls down any settings I have related to my account that it's saved. If you'd entered the incorrect password, it would tell you, and you'd be given the opportunity to re-enter the information. Now, it's prompted me to join Google Plus because I'm not already connected to it. Again, you can connect to this if you like, and it explains it all on screen, but I'm going to skip this stage and go not now. And it says the account sign in was successful. Great. So I press the arrow key. It's asking me about location services, so you can change these accordingly if you want Google to access your location and use wireless networks, etc. Tick them as appropriate, click the arrow key. Now this is where you can personalize things, so you can give your device a name. So I'm just going to call it test, but this could be your first and last name. Then you click the arrow keys. You can then access a Dropbox account. So if you already have one, you can sign in. If you don't, you can create an account. Like the Samsung and Google accounts, they can all be set up on the device, providing you have an internet connection at this time. But you do get a free 50 gig of storage for 2 years when you buy this device. So that's a handy accessory and worthwhile taking advantage of. That is cloud storage and requires an internet connection. Now I'm going to skip at this stage. And then you can turn on some of the other features that the device offers. So S-Beam, allow data exchange when the device touches another device. Smart Stay, screen stays on as long as you're looking at it. Easy Mode helps you use your device more easily with a simpler home screen layout. And by using the slider icons, you can turn these either on or off. Now I'm going to turn off S-Beam, I'm going to turn off Easy Mode, but I'm going to leave Smart Stay on. I'm going to click Next. So it's now got my device name. I can edit that if I like. It's picked up based on the name I entered before, so the test. You can click in there to change it or edit it. And then once you've done, click Finish. And that is your device then set up. It might need for you to actually do some updates based on the applications pre-installed on the handset. I'm going to say no at this time, and you can then go and configure your device accordingly. So that's how to set up and first boot your Samsung Galaxy Ace 3.